Hey, everybody. This is Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and I am not alone. I have with me my sis, my friend, Raine Cruz, also known as Ringside Raine, here with me today. How are you?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Busy but good. um,
That's good.
so
That's good.
So, as we know, May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and I thought I would bring back a friend to kind of just chat a little bit about Asian American, I guess, representation in the wrestling world, as far as what's good, what's bad, what could be better, all that good stuff. So, I guess the first question for me, would be like, how do you feel about like Asian representation both inside the ring but also outside the ring, like announcing commentary behind the scenes?
There's definitely more representation now compared to before. I remember watching wrestling all the way back when I was still in the Philippines. And I remember seeing Gail Kim, and I was just really happy to see someone who somewhat looked like me. And I didn't see many of that. And to me, it felt like, okay, like, is there really a spot for someone like me, someone from that would represent the AAPI heritage, aside from Gail Kim. Mind you, at that time in the Philippines, we were only able to see Raw and SmackDown. I'm not sure if there was TNA at that time, but I believe where I was watching it on cable TV in the Philippines, we only had Raw and SmackDown. So that was just like the only exposure that I had in terms of seeing an AAPI talent in the wrestling industry. Now, fast forward to, you know, I guess now, you turn on your TV, you watch either WWE, AEW, or even if you watch online for, to watch your favorite wrestling shows, you see a bunch of wrestlers, not just wrestlers, like you said, there's ring announcers, there's people who do commentary that are of AAPI heritage. And that to me is a huge improvement compared to what 15 years ago when I was still in the Philippines and saw just Gail Kim, right? And then now it's like I see Asuka, I see Io Shirai, I see Emi Sakura, I see Rio, I see Roman Reigns. There's just so much representation now, and it makes me feel good because to me, I feel like, okay, I have a spot in the industry now, because before I didn't think I would have a shot. I didn't think I would have a spot because no one really looked like me. So in my head, it seemed like, would people really watch if it's someone that looks like me would be up there? So there's definitely a huge progress compared to from years ago.
Yeah, Gail Kim was actually one of my favorite wrestlers as well. She was somebody who I felt was a bit underrated. I think people didn't
Hmm.
realize just how special she was as far as her skill set, and then what she now brings to Impact in the production role, where she does behind the scenes is just like she's really done some amazing works. And so I definitely like trying to think like that time period. Like there were other bits and pieces, like the Rock's family goes so far back into WWE, but then you think there wasn't too many mainstream where we saw it. And so I definitely do agree with regards to seeing it more. I guess for mainstream, because go to indie shows, you see you have your Kid Bandits and you have your Viva Vans and you have your Rika Taka, and so you have them coming, and it's so amazing to see so much different type of like representation. But to see now mainstream where people are now seeing that there's different cultures, not what the typical wrestling was like the 80s, like American wrestling
Hmm.
how it was back then. So what would you, I guess, like to see more of as far as representation for Asian people, Pacific Islander people? What would you like to see more of in wrestling?
For me, one would be, I guess, acceptance. And I know there is acceptance already of AAPI performers in the professional wrestling industry. I guess to me, more in terms of going away from the stereotypical roles. Like, perfect example will be Akira Tozawa. The guy plays like a ninja role in the WWE. And I remember seeing that and I was like, I don't know if it's just me who thinks that this is wrong, but maybe this is just the character he was given. And you know what? He's like, you know what? I'm going to play this part really well. And to me, it's like, okay, I want us to be seen as characters, not just the stereotypical characters, but characters that we can play outside of the stereotypical roles. Also, I want more speaking roles for people of the AAPI heritage. Obviously, you mentioned The Rock earlier. I mean, The Rock is such a great persona. Great when he's speaking on the mic. Just in general, he's like a whole package. But I want to see more of that. I want to see someone who's Asian American, Pacific Islander, to have that microphone and speak for his or herself. For me, I think that's how I started pursuing my dream in the professional wrestling industry, because to me, I don't think I've seen that kind of representation that I want in terms of a female Asian manager. And I think that's why, to me, that was my goal. Like, I wanted to be that person. And I remember seeing Asuka, and Asuka, great talent. And to me, man, I picture her as, if Brock Lesnar has Paul Heyman, Asuka can have like a manager too. And that's, the idea that clicked in my head that, you know what, someone who's from the AAPI heritage could possibly play that role. And, that's how my dream started.
Yeah, I love Asuka is also another favorite of mine. I do think that if they won't allow her to speak, then they should have someone. And it would be awesome to have somebody who's also of, Asian descent, just to kind of step in for her and be like, listen, we know Asuka's super badass, but just that extra step, that extra like pizzazz for her. Just, I feel like she's pretty over with fans. I do feel like most people do like Asuka, but I do get that you want, like, look how like Roman's switch of becoming like the tribal chief, and how Paul Heyman just added that extra level of like something more to make Roman's heel gimmick more believable. Even his presentation, the difference between how he was with Brock and how he was with Roman is very different as well, and it makes actually Roman look even more like imposing as a heel, because he has that manager who just does that extra step. And so, yes, I definitely would love to see somebody of Asian descent, somebody who's Pacific Islander, just step in that mic role, like somebody who get on the mic and you're kind of like, you might love them, you might hate them, but they're doing something to kind of put that extra part to that character. So, who are some of your favorites? Like, again, we have so many different types of wrestlers now. I think the indies is a really good stepping stone a lot of times to introduce us to wrestlers that wouldn't necessarily fall on the mainstream wrestling, or what people think wrestling is. Or if you don't know, because wrestling is such a niche type of community. Like, we're very specific. It's a very specific type of fans that get go towards wrestling. So for somebody who's never seen wrestling before, indie wrestling definitely kind of opens the door for different types of gimmicks, different types of styles, different types of characters. So who are some of the people, that for you, that falls under, AAPI descent, that are like some of your favorites that are doing amazing things right now?
Ooh, amazing things right now. I am hands down Kid Bandit. Kid Bandit and I met on our Centino Brothers class, and Kid Bandit was actually the one who introduced me to my very first promoter, and I am forever grateful for him for that connection that he basically opened up for me. And I remember seeing him in our class, and it's like the transition from his character before to what Kid Bandit is doing now. It's amazing. It's amazing how Kid Bandit knows how to promote his talent and promote his character. And I cannot wait to see what else is there for Kid Bandit. Viva Band. I remember seeing Viva Band at my very first indie show, PCW Ultra here in SoCal. And same thing when I saw the same feeling when I saw Gail Kim, when I was still watching WWE in the Philippines. I remember seeing Viva Band at my very first indie show, and I was like, oh my God. Okay, so there's a spot for AAPI women, and that's the thing, AAPI women in the business. And see, at that time, I think she was a valet, and I forgot for whom, but from that time till now, I actually ended up working with her last year, just to be able to announce Viva Band as Viva 4 belts. And Zeta Zen was actually her opponent that night. I remember I was just I felt so proud that I was in the same ring with them. So I really can't wait to see what else is there for Viva. I believe she's also done AEW Dark. So has Kid Bandit, right? I think he's also done AEW Dark. So it's great to see that people who are also of AAPI heritage, people who are doing great work in the indies are being noticed, because that tells me that what you and I are doing in the indies are being noticed too. And it gives us hope that, one day, the hard work will pay off for us.
Yeah, Kid Bandit, such a just having the chance to interview them and just listening to them speak, and then I got to see in person a few weeks ago a wrestling show. I know it's everything what I kind of expected when I saw the stuff online, saw the clips online, but to kind of be there in person and watch like how the fans were, like me being like a fan too, but like watching everybody else and just how easily they gravitated was just like so awe inspiring to watch that happen, especially for I believe they've been wrestling less than a year now. So, it's not even a full year yet. And the fact that it's that much momentum, that much specialness, it's like I said to them before, I'm like, I don't know if you get yet just how special you are. Very few people can do what was done in that very short time span. And then again, still be very kind. Sometimes you have really hateful things I've been seeing, unfortunately, been said, or, and so to still, rise above all of that and still shine and still thrive like that. Just very rare that happens. And Viva Van, again, love her too. Love her. It's so cool. Like when she was with 4 belts, and I'm like, to see women in general, there's always the bragging about men with multiple belts, but to see a woman of color with 4 belts be dominating and so badass, and just it's like, oh God, it's so cool. And so I'm not even of Asian descent, and I'm happy about that. So I can only imagine what it is for those who fall under that descent, how that feels for them. As a woman wrestling fan, I'm like, yes, there's more of this, more women being like this, being badass like this, and doing so unapologetically. So I can only imagine what it is for, other women, that are Asian, that are Pacific, that can see somebody like Viva Van and just be like, yo, this is so cool. I definitely feel like it's we're going into the right direction. I feel like we're getting better with making sure we can see that type of representation kind of all around. So what has been your experience, I guess, as a woman as a Filipina woman, but as far as working in wrestling and behind the scenes, how has that experience been for you?
Honestly, when I first started, I never experienced anything different. I think I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by people who actually took care of me. Mostly because to them, they're like, okay, I'm a woman, and the guys, they're very protective of me. I didn't really see the impact of myself as a Filipino and as of Asian descent until I won the WWE announcer contest. And because my country, I came from the Philippines, they found out that someone who's born and raised in the Philippines won the WWE announcer contest, was inside the WWE ring. That was very special for my country. And to me, it was like, you know what? That is true. It was a very special moment because at that time, Manny Pacquiao, who was basically like our hero in the Philippines, had a fight, a few blocks away from where SummerSlam was held. And so there were a lot of Filipinos at that time in Vegas during SummerSlam. And, I did that thing at SummerSlam. And I just remember, being interviewed by Philippine media, and, they were just very proud that someone who was from the Philippines, born and raised there, represented our country, the Philippines, in that big stage. And to me, it kind of hit me on a different level when that started happening, because I realized, oh my God, this isn't just about me representing SoCal Indies, women in wrestling. It's also about me representing where I came from, my heritage, me being Filipino, who moved to the United States to pursue her American dream. So yeah, I now to me, I look at it in a bigger picture. And you know what? Wherever I end in this industry, I will always represent that heritage, and I will be hopefully a good example to someone maybe who's in a country like the Philippines, for example, who thinks, oh my God, how can I don't think I'll have a chance to be in a WWE ring, because that's what I thought when I was there. That's what I thought when I started watching WWE in the Philippines. I don't think I'll have a chance. I don't look like any of those people. And then fast forward to SummerSlam 2021, I was in a WWE ring. So if wherever I end up in this industry, if I could be that example, a ray of hope for someone, that what, it doesn't matter how big your dreams are, as long as you put in the hard work and dedication, you have your passion, whatever your heritage is, you're gonna reach your dream.
That's like, yeah, I just from, I guess when we did our interview and I was just watching, like, people was like, oh yeah, I got to talk to her too. And I'm like, there was a lot of like good, like, people was like, this is so cool to see, somebody who looks like me do this. Like, again, I was really excited again to see a woman. Again, it's always nice to see women in wrestling because it's such a male dominated, like, industry. It's such a male dominated sport. There's still so much work that can be done with women in general with wrestling. And so I was already excited about that part. Like, you're a woman, and so that's super awesome. But then again, you're like a woman of color, and it's like you just always just like, yes, it's a win. It's always a small win for us as a whole. So I
Yeah.
remember asking before how the experience was, but again, to have like kind of have like your country kind of on your back a bit, like this was me doing it not just for myself, but for a country who this is what WWE is what they know. They don't have like
Mhm.
the access to like how we have access to indie shows, and we can go to like the local promotion and catch a show where it's a little different for them over there as far as trying to catch wrestling. So yeah, that's I like I'm still like so stoked that she was able to do that, and able to live that part. Like that's like super amazing. Um, so definitely like I guess understand that level of like cause I'm American, so it's like you know but I'm Black American. It's a whole different level of layers of there because of like American history. So it's like yeah, I would represent my like the Black community, but to have like a whole country is a whole different level of like wow, like you like I really have that like this is also for them. This is also for them, and hopefully somebody sees this and like this can be me too. So definitely understand like that level of just like it was a lot I guess bigger I guess that in hindsight it was a lot bigger than you originally thought it would be for you doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is like some things you would like to see for like going forward I guess with wrestling and for people that's AAPI? What would you like to see going forward for wrestlers or those behind the stage or behind the scenes?
I guess, number one would be more representation, which, again, I really think there's, progress already in that level. Um, I also want to see, and I guess like I want people to see, especially those of the AAPI heritage, that there is a spot for us in this industry, especially now. And don't lose hope when you turn on TV and you feel like, okay, I haven't seen any AAPI person do this, do that, because let me remind you, The Rock has done amazing things, who is of AAPI heritage. So even though there's not a lot, there's some who have done it already, and that shouldn't stop us from, trying to reach that goal. Because it's never been done, or I guess not a lot of people have done it, doesn't mean it's not doable. Because again, nothing is impossible. So yeah, I just hope that people of the AAPI heritage will continue not just to pursue their dreams, but also to encourage other people of the AAPI heritage to pursue their dreams, like what Kid Bandit did for me. And I think it's great to always find that role model, I guess. If you feel like, okay, there's no spot for me in the business. I remember Batista, he's half Filipino, and just I remember getting his book and reading about his story, and to me, it's like, man, this guy, accomplished his dream from being a bouncer, and now, a wrestler at that time, and then now like an actor. And so to me, if you feel like hopeless or you feel like there's no spot for you, think of like those people who have made it. Look at them. Obviously, nothing happens just like that. So you got to put in the work. But you know what? If they were able to make it, we could make it too. And again, like the stereotypical roles, I hope we could kind of lean away from that. That way, there would be more focus on AAPI people making it to the main event. Like, for example, Roman Reigns making it to, WrestleMania main event. So.
Yeah, I do want wrestling to kind of lean. If the wrestler didn't suggest like, can I do this role? I do wish that like the writers or promoters, when they're like thinking of it, like let's not. And I want to say mostly mainstream, because I feel like indie wrestlers have a bit more say so as far as gimmick, but more mainstream wrestling, like definitely try to stay away from the stereotypical roles in general. When there's people of color wrestling, definitely just stay away. If the wrestler say, I want to do this gimmick, this is something I want to do, I think it will be beneficial not only for them but for the fans, because I feel like you don't want to like, we can do so many different things. I feel like I don't like the stereotype where you put people of color in certain boxes, what you think they're supposed to be doing, or what you like heard the rumors supposed to be. Like, this is what we like. This is what the media says they're supposed to be, and so this is what they fit into. And so I definitely feel like that's something that hopefully wrestling will get better with. At least mainstream wrestling will get better with just kind of making sure we get like a super cool, awesome wrestler, because they're like talented, and because they're skilled, and because they have a way with like the fans or the fan base, and they have a way with the audience, rather than, well, you're the guy that's going to put on the ninja costume. And this is nothing against the character, because he's really cool. Like, he seems really cool. But again, I definitely also side eye that too. Like, is this really what we're doing in this like day and age? We're doing the ninjas, really? So I definitely gave the side eye to that too. Like, can we get away from the ninja thing? Like, unless he pitched it, which I highly doubt. But if he pitched it, I guess okay, if he pitched it. But let's just move away from what Asian people are more the ninja, the ninjas. So definitely understand that. So what do you have going on? What can we expect from you going forward in wrestling?
Oh, so for me, I have a couple of like ring announcing gigs out there. So if you guys are ever in Los Angeles on June 26th, I'll be at Summer Brawl in downtown LA. August 14th, New Tradition Lucha Libre in Adelanto, California, which is, I believe, like 40 miles away from Los Angeles. So you have a choice of going all the way to LA or Adelanto, California. I've also ventured into doing commentary work for FN Warriors Wrestling, and you can catch that on Viva Live TV, Fight Night Channel 8. It's a free app that you can download on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store. So there's things here and there that I would do. Obviously, still, doing the ring announcing and trying different things here and there. And hopefully one day I get to try the manager role, because that's what I really, really want to pursue. I want to be like that, female Asian manager for someone. So I hope I would get that chance someday.
I see you did a commercial too, which I thought was really cool, by the way. It was like I was like, oh, I like that's so cool that it sounds like something I would definitely see like on a New York City TV station if I'm just like scrolling through channels and like a raw commercial came on and it's a person with a really nice voice who just kind of tell you what you probably should call or do. So that was pretty cool. I was really like happy for you to see that as well. So that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was such a great blessing for me. I didn't expect that to happen, and I was like, well, you know what? Yeah, if you guys want to have me, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, and I'm hoping like the universe will give it to you that you could be able to manage somebody. I mean, I know you mentioned before you wouldn't mind being a heel type manager, so
Oh my
so
God,
like
I'd love to be a heel manager, because like you see me like this, I'm like friendly, I guess in real life I'm friendly, I'm nice, I'm always smiling, but I can't do babyface promos. For some reason, I cannot do it. I get shy. I don't know. I feel shy. I get embarrassed. I don't know why. But when I switch into the heel character, the heel manager, for some reason, I just feel different. I feel confident. I feel like I'm going to take over the world. So I'd love to kind of show that side of me, because I feel like, from ring announcing and commentary and the commercial, I'm that friendly face that people would see. And, being a heel manager would be a complete, hello, what happened there?
I feel like well, I feel like I'm okay doing like my backstage interviews, doing the ring. That's fine for my lane, but I definitely get like I feel like heel's just so much more fun. Even when I'm like joking, I'm like, if I was a wrestler, I know I would fall under the heel line because of the stuff I know I could say, and it's just like you can have more fun with what you're allowed to kind of do and what you're allowed to kind of make the person you're with like look better. And so I feel like I don't know. I feel like babyface is great. You want to root for babyface. As a kid, I always was rooting for babyface. I was always like devastated when my babyface wrestlers would get messed up in storylines. I'm like, but why would you do this as an adult? Though I would definitely be like a heel. Just it seems more fun.
Yeah,
It seems like you have so much
yeah.
more fun with that.
Yeah, it's good to be bad. I guess in wrestling as a heel character.
So tell everybody where they can find you, social media, and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, also on TikTok and YouTube at Ringside Raine. That's Raine with an E. So for all of the shows that I mentioned earlier, I usually post them on my Instagram and on my Twitter. If you guys if you guys want to find out more information on tickets and where you can buy them, go to my Instagram and Twitter, Ringside Raine.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on again, just as some type of representation for AAPI. Again, it's so many cool things. There's so many cool people in wrestling that it falls under that defense. And I'm so glad to see more and more of it. And hopefully 2022 on and 2023 and 2024, we're seeing more and it's more welcoming and more open, and we're just seeing that continue to grow. And so I want to thank you again for agreeing to come back on with me, just to talk a
Thank
little
you
bit
for
about
having me.
it. And again, guys, I will have all the social media links as always in the description. So definitely go follow and support if you are in the California area. Please check out the shows that Raine will be on. She has like a really great like speaking voice, and so like that's your thing. Definitely go check that out. Go support and everything that she is doing. And until next time, guys, much love. Bye.